Hello, my name is Hannah Gagliardo, and I'm going to talk to you about homemade maple syrup. It is one of my favorite things to do this time of year. It's a great product to have if you love making your own food products. Maple syrup is the way to go. You can even try to make maple sugar, which I have, and that's a great alternative sweetener that's natural. Um, Maple syrup is great for coffee and it's great. So doing it, making it, if you have a couple maple trees at home, it's you really you don't need one, two trees. Um you really don't need a whole lot. You could go all out, spend a lot of money on all this tubing and special buckets, but you really don't need to. I've been doing this for quite a few years and it can be pretty simple. So to do it, you really just need a couple tree taps, depending on how many trees you want to do. You can do like two, I'd say 2 to 3 taps per tree. Um, you'll need a drill. You're going to need a bucket for each tree tap and then a bucket for collecting. A big boiling pot to boil down your syrup and mason jars to store it in. And then you're going to need cheesecloth and a funnel so you can filter when you collect it. Once you get all your equipment, um, then you're going to want to tap your trees. To start, it's usually just before spring. So you're looking at temperatures between 35 degrees and 45 degrees Fahrenheit, usually around March, sometimes February, and even in January. I have done it in January because the temperature was right and I didn't want to miss out. Um, it works, but I would recommend at least till towards the end of February. As long as those temperatures are hitting, you're good to go. So once you get your trees that you want, you have your taps, you got drill holes. You have to find a vein where you're gonna get a good flow. Ideally, you want to drill holes on the south side of the tree, but I have done it on other sides and have found good flowing veins, so it's not necessary. Um, but it's trial and error. You'll have to see what's best for you. Once you find a good vein, you set up your buckets. You're gonna want buckets with lids. You don't have to have lids, but if you're gonna have rain, birds, bugs, things are gonna get in there, and that's more to filter, more contaminants you gotta worry about. Um, so once you get that figured out, um, then you start collecting. When you collect your maple water, you need to filter it before you put it in your pot. What I do every year is once I start boiling, I just add to it every day and I just boil it down for days. I keep it at a low simmer and just slowly add to it. So as it starts to go down, then I'll add more, and it just goes down, and I add more until it starts to get thicker and darker in color. And then the house smells amazing. And it's a great indicator to know that winter's ending and spring is ringing around the corner. So it really makes the house smell really good. Mm, Great time of year. And then as you're starting to boil it down, it starts to get more condensed and thicker, and you think you got a good amount that will last you for a year. Um, I mean, you could do this a couple times. Then the initial boil down to the temperature, you want to get it at around 217 to 18 degrees Fahrenheit. If you have a candy thermometer, I suggest investing in one, but you don't have to. Usually you boil it down just before it'll start to like bubble up. And that's an important step if you're going to make maple sugar because you do want that bubble up for the sugar. Um, and the sugar's great. I haven't done that in a couple of years. I might do that this year. So then once you do that, then you have to let it cool down for a minute, and then you're gonna have to store it in your mason jars. If you are experienced with mason jars, then you know you gotta fill it up, put the lids on, and then put them in hot water to seal them. Um, and that's pretty much it. I mean, other than time, it can be time consuming. If you don't want to use your stove, you can invest in a single propane burner, and then you can set it and then put it in an area outside or somewhere where you know it won't be disturbed, so you're not concerned if you have to leave the house for a couple hours, or you have to worry about it, your house burning down if you leave your stove on. Um, so it's it can be time consuming if you're not home all the time. Obviously, you don't want to leave stuff burning constantly, but it takes a while to boil it down and can be days. So um, it's important to keep an eye on it and make sure it doesn't boil over, because you have to keep adding and adding to make sure you have enough. But it is so worth it. And it makes the house smell great, like I think I said 4 or 5 times. And it's so good for you, a very healthy alternative sweetener if you want to reduce sugar. It and if you're from Buffalo and you love chicken wings, it's great if you add it to your hot sauce and make maple chicken wings. Super good. And it's really great. And that's all I got. Okay, thank you.